Danganronpa. Hacía mucho, buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches para lo que sea para cada uno. Hacía mucho que no veíamos Danganronpa, así que vamos a ver otra parte más. Yo no sé por qué, desde que hicieron la actualización de PlayStation, tanto Twitch como tanto Twitch como PlayStation va como el culo, no me deja hacer las cosas bien y demás. Pero bueno, yo lo intentaré. Vamos al juicio, no sé si os acordáis que nos quedamos en que habían matado a las chiquillas de los ordenadores. Así que vamos al juicio.
Yo.
Huh?
Huh?
Come on!
No está Toco, que es la de la trenza.
What are you gonna do? Phew.
Este es el de los chinos violadores, como dice esto, como dice el Timmy.
Let's go.
Habían matado a Chihiro, vamos al juicio de Chihiro. Ay, Dios mío. Qué cruel, tío.
Hey, come on. Count on it.
Well then.
How very sad.
¿Estamos volviendo a los locos o qué? Ikirikiri.
It's true.
¡Oh, vamos allá! A por el juicio. Estaremos una horita por aquí. Iré a sacar a la perrilla durante 15 minutos. Y luego volveré. Así que venga. Bueno, no sé si hacer Dead by Daylight o hacer Overwatch cuando vuelva. Madre mía, empieza el juicio. Cómo me gusta el traje de la Celestia, tío. De la Celestia Lumberg. Era la favorita de Meme Oñaki. Puto. Bueno, Kuma.
Very nice. Well, thrills, check.
Da mucho mal rollo porque los que se van muriendo van saliendo fotos ahí, en plan... Yes. Vamos a por el trial.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, if you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment.
Si
But
sabéis quién lo ha
if you
hecho,
pick the
recibirá...
wrong one,
Si sabéis quién lo ha hecho, solamente él recibirá el castigo. Pero si
then
Cora lo
I'll
ha
punish
hecho,
everyone besides the
todo el
blackened,
mundo.
and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay, then, let's talk about the murder.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
Interesting. That certainly would make for a powerful weapon.
Poor Chihiro.
¿Cómo se disparaba?
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
Interesting.
Vale,
That
es en
certainly
el
would
este.
make for a powerful weapon.
En el triángulo, que no me
Poor
acordaba.
Chihiro.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
Interesting.
No.
That certainly would make for a powerful weapon.
Poor Chihiro.
Chihiro's fatal injury.
Ay, madre.
It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
Interesting. That certainly would make for a powerful weapon.
No me da
Poor
para darle.
Chihiro.
Es súper difícil de darle, ¿eh?
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
No, that's wrong.
¡Sí! Buenas noches, Canario.
Can we agree that the object that dealt the fatal blow, it was covered in blood? And there was
And the wound on the victim's head is consistent with the shape of the dumbbell. As far as I'm concerned, there's no mistake.
You looked at her head wound?
Yay! That's so creepy!
If you don't mind, I will proceed from here. Let's move on to... Although, I believe the criminal behind this heinous act.
What? For real?
Chihiro's killer is the fiendish serial killer. Genocide...
Venga, va. Venga, vamos.
The culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure of it. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible.
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on. There's just no proof for it.
No, that's wrong. I might...
What?
I found this file. While I was looking around the I guess it's some kind of confidential file the police...
What? That's kind of
Aquí
weird as
dándole
shit,
a
isn't it?
este.
What was something like...
The why of it is probably more trouble than it's worth. So let's forget. More importantly,
Luego
it
estaba
outlines
preguntando-
all the specifics of every
A ver si
Genocide
se me
Jack
oye.
case in exceeding detail.
Que estaba diciendo que no sé si luego jugar al Dead o jugar al Overwatch.
According to the file, there appear to be two. The first is that a bloody message is found.
Oh, that's...
No. It's
But more important is the other character.
Never made public? What?
Why don't you tell them, Makoto?
I got it! Apparently, in every other than the killer, the only people who know about this are the higher-ups in the police department.
However, Chihiro was most definitely suspended in the same way. So, how did the culprit know about this when there's only one logical answer? It's because the culprit in this case is the real—
No fucking way!
You're saying Genocide Jack is one of us?
Yes. In fact, it's Toko.
What?
Genocide Jack's true identity is Toko Fuka.
You lie!
What? Hey, okay, wait, hold on a sec. Toko has, like, bloodophobia or whatever, remember? What kind of serial killer is afraid of
Is Toko Genocide Jack? The answer is yes.
Another riddle. Man, why is this?
Corta.
Now I understand. Is it because Genocide Jack has a split personality?
Fíjate. No te escondas. ¿Te he visto? No te escondas. Me mete. Hombre, ya. Me mete. Me mete. Que luego salimos a la calle. Uy, qué pesada está. No vas a estar, ¿no?
Huh?
I think I read that somewhere in the file, too. They thought that the suspect might have... What did...
Oh, okay. But still, to go and say...
Perfectly acceptable. Toko's strange behavior after seeing the body is proof enough that...
Shoot! I got it! You're talking about how she started acting totally different than usual, right?
¿Qué tal estáis? Contadme algo. Yo que voy traduciendo mentalmente lo que estoy leyendo.
That's right. Think back. She fainted when she saw
She was acting funny, that's for sure.
Don't go assigning adjectives to my...
Not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body again. In other words, within her is one personality that...
So when Toko trapped herself in her room...
The reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep it was to keep her other personality.
What?
Toko was afraid. Afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her. Of killing even...
Yeah. How can you...
I do believe you misunderstood. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know? No. What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Huh?
Last night, just before Monokuma gave... She told me a most interesting... She said, a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack, and that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak attitude.
This is all a lie.
You said you wouldn't tell anyone.
What?
You promised.
You have only yourself to blame. You came to me with your tragic little story. This is the real world, not some romantic fantasy. Besides, you broke your promise first. You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let Genocide Jack kill. But in spite of that promise...
You said if I... That's the only reason I...
How many times do I have to tell you? I never said that, but you weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush.
I tried! I swear I tried!
But your efforts were useless.
I...
Well, the opening act is nearly finished. All that's left is to hear from the person...
The person? You don't mean...
Well, hello there! Is it me you were hoping... Yes! What the heck? So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm the ultimate murderous fiend, Genocide Jack! Or better yet, let's go with Genocide Jill!
What the fuck is this?
Toko, what happened to you?
Not Toko! That's a loser name! And what happened is a textbook split... So what if one of them happens to be a serial killer? You should turn a blind eye to one's...
She's so
intense.
Like they say, sound and murderous mind, sound and murderous...
This one is so different from the one...
Yes, well, the world is composed of a front and a back, you know. Just like how every inning has a top and a bottom, or how in the depths of every truth, behind every dark and gloomy soul lives another that shines as bright as the
Miss Jack, Jill?
What's up?
Some of us think you might be the mastermind behind our entire situation. What are your...
Well, I'll tell you. I am the mastermind of all... Just kidding.
Then it's not true?
Of course it's not true! How dare you try to link me to that creep? And another thing, the police and government and society in the outside world, I mean, they just let this idiotic, bloodthirsty maniac go buck wild.
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac, but life is pain, right? To live is to hurt other people. It's a necessary evil if you want to survive. The act of living itself causes... Just kidding again!
This should be enough to convince you. This murder... There's clearly a motive, so there should be no...
A motive?
Remember what Monokuma... If someone didn't murder and graduate within 24 hours, an embarrassing memory or secret would be revealed. Well, let's assume that Toko's secret was... If a secret like that came to light, Toko's life would have undoubtedly been... So she had a very clear motive to never have that...
Interesting. Very, very... But sorry, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not the cult...
Huh?
But I cannot imagine anyone other than you could murder someone in such...
Maybe so, but nevertheless it's the truth!
Do you really expect any of us...
Yeah. I could never believe a word you say!
¡Vámonos!
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things.
Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking!
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely.
No, that's wrong.
Break.
Are the methods of murder really I think there's a slight difference between the genocide...
Huh? How's...
Uh-oh, you don't know? Well then, human garbage, let me tell you! I murder with passion and conviction. I consider myself a professional, and I have a very particular... Imagine you go to a fancy Italian restaurant. They're very picky about the noodles, the sauce, everything. But what happened to Chihiro? It'd be like if that same Italian restaurant started using ragu or chef. This is no creation of mine!
Let me rephrase that. In a way, there are two clear differences between the genocide... I got it! For one, in the genocide Jack murders, all the victims were killed the same way. According to the case file, they were all apparently killed with a pair of scissors. But Chihiro died from a blow to the head.
Ah, yes. That is remarkably different from the other murder.
Wouldn't it be strange for someone who kills the same way without fail? And there's more.
That's right! In my recipe of murder, if the bloody message is then the arrangement of the body would be the pesto!
Could you please stop comparing killing people to...
So, are you saying the other difference has to do with how the body was arranged?
Shoot!
Ah, me confundí.
I got it! Do you remember what they'd use some kind of rope to hang her up by her...
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous genocide Jack cases... Specifically...
And guess what? I use my own specially designed scissors for the murder. Like I said, I'm a professional, so naturally I'm very picky about the tools I use. And you know, Big Mac said there's two differences, but...
Big Mac? Are you referring...
Listen up, Big Mac! There's...
Huh?
My word, you really didn't notice? There's a pattern there, just waiting.
A pattern?
Figure that out, and it'll be plain as death why I could...
I got it! Is it because...
Bingo! Bullseye! Right on the money!
What are you talking about?
In all the genocide Jack cases, all the...
They were all...
That's right! The people I kill with such passion and conviction are all adorable! I can't believe I said it! I'm so embarrassed!
The hell is wrong with you?
I can't help it! I'm just a full-throttle boy-on-boy fangirl! And the moopies, but now I'm on the fast track to becoming a full-fledged...
So, since Chihiro was a girl and not an adorable little man...
Would an Italian chef suddenly start making ramen just... I have too much passion and conviction to cross that line! That's the absolute reality...
We get it. You've clearly explained your hobby and your philosophy. But it's a different matter entirely. When you're forced...
Quiet, lowly cur!
Lowly? Cur?
I would never kill for a reason as petty as mere... And if by some fluke I did... Why would I bother with the message and arrangement?
That does...
Plus, Whatever reason I have for killing, I would never leave out my... Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid...
Maybe you used the dumbbell because you couldn't find any...
Any scissors? I don't just use any scissors. I only use...
Okay, whatever. You're still...
Are you sure about that? Da-da-da-da!
She's
That's right! So I can kill anywhere, anytime! Why would I resort to dumbbells or rope when I have my trusty... Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong! You can't, can you, gutter dogs? Not to mention, I have no clue how to tie a good knot! So ropes...
I have no idea what's going on anymore! Could such a heinous...
But the body really was suspended, right? And nobody but the police knew about it.
Yeah! That's why we figured it had to be the real deal, and not some copycat...
Shoot! Here's my answer. Byakuya, you'd have no problem gaining access to classified government documents. Plus, you'd already looked through the genocide jack... Are you saying...
Then, the reason he pushed the theory of genocide because he wanted to pin the...
So, he rearranged the scene to disguise it and make it the adorable glasses man was behind it all?
Well, Byakuya, what's your
I see. So then I must ask, when would you say I began acting suspicious? Surely you must have...
Looking the way you were acting right before we discovered the body was... You wanted to go to the girls' locker room right away, right?
I should have naturally thought of the boys' locker room first. The victim was Chihiro, a girl. Hence why I said we should check the girls.
Nothing strange about that. On the contrary, there's some...
Okay then, let's go ahead. Share with the rest.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kinda weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room...
You absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kinda weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room...
You absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl.
Shoot!
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body.
Shoot!
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
you absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body.
Shoot!
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
you absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl.
Shoot!
No.
Is this real? I refuse to give up yet!
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
if you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
you absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was...
No, that's wrong!
¡Bien! ¡Lo conseguí! ¡Vamos!
I'll tell you what's so strange about that.
Japoneses
Because up until we
violadores,
actually
claro.
discovered the body. So your claim that you went to the girls' locker room first because Chihiro was...
I see. Interesting. Very interesting indeed.
Huh?
What's wrong? Is that it? Surely you've got... What's the matter? You're not finished already, are you?
There is.
There is more to it. We just talked about the differences between this case. The proof you're looking for is hidden in...
Oh? Proof that...
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
No, that's wrong.
Mentiroso. Lo tenía, lo estabas usando con la lámpara.
I'm pretty sure because you see that rope, or should I, that extension cord?
What? An extension cord?
Byakuya, you've used the extension cord in the library more than the same extension cord that was in the went missing after the murder. And there's no way someone who uses that extension cord is—
Then Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord. I can't imagine any other possibility.
That's really what you think? Then your conclusion is something like this? I killed Chihiro in the girls' I intentionally made it look like genocide. Is that about right? What's wrong? I asked you if—
Hell yes, that's what happened. So that's it.
I don't disagree with not disagreeing.
He kept calling this a game, right? So he'd be totally willing to do something like this to win.
Sorry, but I think we need—
Huh? Do we really need—
I know, but still. There's something that still bothers—
Is that right? And what, pray tell? I killed her in the girls' locker room, then disguised— Specifically, I dressed it up to make it look like it was the work of a homicidal psychopath. What about all that bothers?
I got it! You say you killed Chihiro and the girls, but are you sure about that?
How What kind of question is that? She was found dead in the girls' locker room. How could the scene of the crime have—
Well, I think it's entirely along with the rest of the murder.
The rest of— That was awfully specific. Please.
I believe I did.
Hey! Don't just move on without permission!
Come on, Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took place somewhere else, let's see the proof.
I got it! The proof that she was killed somewhere else.
Your proof?
The poster in the girls' locker, a picture of a big-boobed supermodel. But why would the girls' locker room—
I bet those massive jugs of hers were total—
Meanwhile, a poster of the super popular boy band. Again, that doesn't really seem to belong in a boy.
So you're saying that maybe—
And there's one other thing I noticed. You know what I'm talking about.
You're referring to my protein.
Protein?
While I was in the girls' locker room earlier, I noticed that after the murder, the stain—
I got it! The stain on the girls' locker room. In fact,
That's definitely the stain from—
Then, does that mean that the carpets were switched too?
Vale, sin problema.
But why would it—
to move the murder scene from one locker room to the other.
What?
In other words, in order to complete the blood-stained poster and carpet were by doing this, the killer was able to change the entire—
I can certainly follow your reasoning, but—
Huh?
Why would they go through all that trouble of— Actually, an even bigger question. If the murder did take place in the boy, then how did Chihiro get in the boys' locker room? To get into the locker rooms, you have to swipe your e-handbook, but Chihiro's handbook should have only allowed her access to the girls' locker room. She had no way to get into the boys' locker room.
No, she did have a way, and I can tell you what it was.
I highly doubt that.
Shut up! I'm telling you, I know how—
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I've got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook!
Shoot!
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I've got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook! She was the ultimate programmer, after all. I'm sure that would have been no problem for her.
No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course. If she had that, she could get into the boys' locker room no problem.
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I've got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook! She was the ultimate programmer, after all. I'm sure that would have been no problem for her.
No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course. If
Joder.
she had that, she could get into the boys' locker room no problem.
No doy una,
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I've got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook! She was the ultimate programmer, after all. I'm sure that would have been no problem for her.
No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course.
Bien.
No, that's wrong. No, I don't think she...
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook...
Oh. Well, then, yeah, I guess...
I am struck silent by how quickly you gave...
Plus, isn't there a regulation?
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. In other words, you could borrow a dead person's handbook all...
Yup, yup, yup! Hit the nail square on the...
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make...
So then, she must have hacked hers, like I said. She...
Psst! You can't fix an e-handbook! The instant you open one up, a secure...
So, if she didn't use Leon's handbook, and she did...
Maybe Mr. 𝐼𝐻𝐽's initial assumption is...
It seems like there's no way she could have got into the boys' locker room.
Okay then, I vote for Byakuya.
Hold on a second. I agree with you, though.
What the? You finally decide to open your mouth and that's what... There's no way she could get in the boys' locker room.
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in? There's still one other way she could have gained...
What?
What are you talking about? What other way in?
Well, to explain, why don't we take a little break from the trial? I'd like you all to come see some...
Wait!
Don't worry. This'll make the whole trial more exciting. I'm sure that thought...
Huh? It'll make things... Well, all right then. Huh? Now then, what is it you want to show us?
Oh, I have no doubt it'll meet your lofty...
The girls' locker room?
We've already searched this place.
I'd like you to examine the victim's body. Be sure to examine the entire body.
Examine her.
No way!
It's probably best if I don't run my hands all over a girl.
It's not that I'm creeped out or anything, it's just...
Very well.
But you're a girl. You shouldn't have to touch...
No, it's okay. I think Chihiro would rather have... So just leave this to me.
What is this? Some kind of secret girl-on-girl action? That's not it at all.
Okay. I'm sorry, Chihiro. Please...
Be sure to check her entire body, and I believe we will solve this part...
Her entire body? I know you say... What?
What is it?
Not possible.
Sí, es una chica.
This
Is what?
is a boy!
Ah, I see. So she was actually a he.
What?
Sí, parece un tío.
You're joking, right?
I wouldn't joke.
Then it's really true?
Chihiro was...
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Chihiro Fujisaki was... Then...
He was a cross-dresser? Oh, no, I'm really on...
So that's what Kyoko wanted to show everyone, huh? Yeah. Now let's ride this wave of
Era un tío.
I do
Era una
apologize.
chica.
We've all just learned of the shocking revelation.
Yes, well, I don't know his reason for hiding it, but the fact is, Chihiro was not a girl. And because the victim was male, he would have had no problem gaining access to the...
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender as male,
Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed like a girl, but he was a boy through and through.
So then, there should be no issue with Makoto's initial... The victim was killed in the boys' locker room, and was then later moved to the girls' locker, and the killer could have easily used Sayaka or Junko's handbook to get into the girls' locker.
So Chihiro really was killed in the boys' locker room?
I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but... Yes, that does seem plausible.
well, I must admit, I knew he felt a little off. There was a certain
This is the most titillating situation!
So now everything has been connected.
Okay, well, connected or clear or whatever.
There.
Ah, he's off.
What about you, Makoto? After everything we've learned, do you...
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like but... I think he might not actually be the...
What? But aren't you the one who would...
He just seems to be too... easygoing about all this. The way he's acting, it makes it seem like it doesn't have anything to do with him.
Déjame un huequito, corazón. Me puedo tumbar yo también. Mira ahí. Mira, yo te tapo. Estás como las reinas, pero es que me duele la espalda. Uy, que me he hecho contigo. Ay, que se ha desconectado. Espérate. Esperaros. Problemas técnicos. Ponemos musiquita. Ti, tiriri, tiriri, ti, tiri, ti, tiriri. Arreglado los problemas técnicos. Vamos arriba. A ver, que nos coloquemos. Sí. Además me duele la espalda. Lo que pasa es que tengo a la perrita aquí. Es verdad, Lucho, que tú no lo sabes. He adoptado una perrita.
And you think that might be because it doesn't have...
Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little... He consciously chose to use the extension cord. No, at least, that's how... And Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' locker room, and then again when you found out Chihiro was actually a guy. If you really were the killer, that stuff wouldn't have had any effect on you.
So that's your thinking, huh? Well, it bothers me that you don't have more concrete reasons, but it's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct for the time being.
Mark it as correct?
Vale. Saludete para Lucho y su gatito.
He's right. I am not the culprit. I just happened to come across the corpse in the girls' locker room and decided to alter...
Are you fucking with us right now?
No, I am not effing with you right now. I'm telling you that...
Well, I find it very hard to...
Go ahead. Find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed along with the rest of us.
If you're really telling the truth, then why?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culp... Now then. If it were...
Well, I don't think I can say for sure without...
We're seriously gonna keep going? We're all good, aren't we?
No, I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, because if we're wrong, we all...
That's true. Very...
Damn straight.
Do you not have a mind of your own?
Of course I do.
Anyway, let's discuss this all as...
That's very true.
Our lives are all on the...
Excellent. Then shall we resume our game of hide and seek?
I got it!
Hola, rápida. Hola, Lucho, de nuevo.
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but... Did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
Shoot!
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Shoot!
Uy, que la cago. Sí, eres top 3 en bits.
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did
Con
it?
los bits.
Well, clues are one thing, but... Did
Como digo yo,
nobody
me
get a
tengan
look at the
poquitos
killer?
bits, pero lo poquito que me entreguen,
I'm
mira.
sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over. It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer! And only the killer!
No, that's wrong! I believe someone else did see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
¿Cuándo sucedió lo de la perrita el jueves pasado?
Now that you mention it, yes.
Huh? Really?
Oh, but I suppose only the rest of you had no idea, did you?
Whatever! Just hurry up and
It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the... I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel, and then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
¿Por qué no te he visto desde entonces conectado?
a track jacket and a duffel bag. But we didn't find anything like that at the murder scene.
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of...
And that is when he said something that struck me as rather odd. Chihiro told me he was, but why would he be in a hurry? Only if...
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone.
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times, and he always declined.
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with enough so that he was willing to risk his secret being revealed.
The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure...
But knowing what we know, I can't...
No. You already have what you need to make the connection.
Huh?
You know who the killer is.
Seriously?
Who is it? Who's the killer?
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag the killer disposed of. Focus on the details of these items, and it should become obvious who was waiting for it.
Are you sure about that? You really think we can figure out who did it based on 2 pieces of evidence?
What? You want to track down some fingerprints or...
Even if we had the equipment for that, we wouldn't know...
As was noted, the evidence is already gone. There's nothing to get
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time to talk it out.
Easy for you to say, but fine. Celeste, Did you?
The bag was just a normal duffel bag from the warehouse.
A ver. Sabes que tengo los horarios ocupados, más que ya están terminando las clases. Lo sé, por eso ahora que te veo, pues te lo digo.
All the bags in there are the same, so
Well, if I remember right, there was a Do you think there might be some connection between the culprit?
Perhaps. Let's explore that. First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing!
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black!
I don't even have a tracksuit. 'Cause exercising sucks!
I have a white tracksuit, personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
did any of that really help us get any closer to figuring out who the culprit is?
No way. Not a chance.
You heard him, right? First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing!
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as...
No, that's wrong. Hold on a second, Mondo.
Huh? What'd I say?
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she never said anything about the jacket's color. So why did you say Chihiro's blue?
What are you? You just...
Hey, Celeste, what color was...
As a matter of fact...
And before we began the trial...
The only one I told about any of this was...
Then... Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracks...
Because
I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
No, that can't be. The bag and clothes were surely disposed of by the time we began our investigation.
Then the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Cherry with it before he died! That's the only possibility!
Cherry?
So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it last night. He walked past me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
No, that can't be it either. When Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, you couldn't possibly have seen what color the
It would appear you've dug your own grave.
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with?
Ah, now I understand. Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from... That's why you said you knew who did it.
That's right. Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him.
But why? What made you...
That's a good question. There was a certain turning point. Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and you only call guys dude for girl. And after he was killed, you happened to refer to him as dude. Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew
You noticed it?
Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positive?
No. I'm not nearly as frightful as someone capable of...
Mondo, Did you really?
I didn't kill anyone! You've been all over me, judging everything What gives you the right to treat me like a
Yeah! He would never do something like that!
It's true. My reasoning on that is...
That was fast.
Well, this does present us with a...
That's what my little ghost friend...
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Hifumi.
Really? What?
Actually, you know, now that I'm...
Jeez, does your confidence just get up and...
If you... What do you have? It happens to be an e-handbook. I found...
I got it! We know Chihiro's handbook was missing
For a fact.
For a fact, I was totally sure...
Then it must hold some clue about the
Well, that's what I was hoping.
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence.
That's odd. I didn't think the handbook...
You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof and shock resistant. It would take an awful lot.
And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Leon's, sitting useless in the For all your confidence, that is a remarkably high failure rate.
Do you think there might be some kind of mystery in there somewhere? How Shoot!
I got it! You already told us before that the handbook
Yeah! Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and two of them broke in quick...
Then we can only assume that someone's You know what the weakness is, right, Ma?
Huh? You're asking me?
I think it's a necessary piece of information if you want this to be a fair trial.
But if I tell you, and someone else decides to copy it, that would be very...
Just tell us already! Why would we want to break our own hand?
Oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demand. Then allow me to make a special announcement. The weak point of my... When it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a... I flippin' knew it!
You knew it?
Yeah, because I found the handbook laying on the floor. The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200 degrees. It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates a... If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, that layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move around. So when you're in a sauna, make...
Wow, interesting.
That is a mere trifle.
Anyway, if you found the victim's handbook, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its
Meaning the culprit somehow knew...
But how'd they find out? Monica...
Indeed.
What if they found out by accident?
What do you mean by
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing its weakness? They'd realize it was broken, of course. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to...
I won't say it's not possible, but who would have done something? I don't know of anyone who took their handbook.
I might know someone.
Whoa! Serious?
I think the one who may have taken their hand... Here's my answer! Mondo, your handbook got broken.
What?
Why? Why do you keep accusing him?
Mondo and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna not too long ago, remember? And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school uniform on. But little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in one of his uniforms. And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it.
No, wait, hold on. I don't accept this. Show me the proof. The actual solid proof.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
Shoot!
Hi.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
Joder.
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
Joder.
See?
Otra
Look!
vez. Sé que
Makoto
es
was
esa.
wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Ah. Voy a apuntar aquí arriba. Pero que la bala tarda.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See?
No.
Look!
Demasiado
Makoto was
arriba.
wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
En serio.
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
Shoot!
Nada, no doy una hora, ¿eh?
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo,
Madre mía, se me está
you
haciendo el
broke your
juicio.
own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
No,
No, that's
bien. Oh,
Mondo, the handbook.
The fuck is that?
The broken handbook that was it. Isn't that one?
What the heck are you talking about?
What I mean is, I think I think he took Leon's handbook after all. Monokuma said himself.
That's right! The punishment itself.
So then, the broken handbook which would mean that the handbook Mondo has.
But doesn't that violate the school regulation that says,
Well, there is a rule about loaning your handbook to another student, but it's kind of a gray area, I admit. But as such, I decree that...
Well, Mondo, if I'm wrong, I'm happy to admit I made him.
Son of a...
What's wrong, bro? You are wrong! Everything you just said is...
Okay, then why don't we look back? That way, everything will become clear. And the killer is you! First, let's take a look back. Last night, Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse, correct?
Claro.
At the time, she was apparently stuffing something. That something was a blue track. With bag in hand, she made her way to the lock. But how could the victim?
Oh. A ver, que lo vuelvo a intentar.
I refuse to give up yet.
Vale, es el este. Venga, va. Ya estamos terminando.
The killer is
Ahora
you.
sí. Chao,
First, let's
Lucho.
take a look back. Last night, at the time, that something was a blue track. With bag in hand, she made her way to the lock. But how could the victim? Simple, which is once inside, it seems likely that the killer grabbed the nearby and attacked it. And that's where it was like, which is why the killer hurried then and finally carrying the core. A girl's handbook was necessary, but this alone, after all, using one of the, and that's with the car. They changed the layout of the boys and girls. That could have been. Byakuya discovered the body and decided to. So he went and grabbed the extension cord. He used the cord. Then, using the victim's own blood, he left a grisly message there at the scene of the crime. He wanted to create the illusion that and around the kill there, and just somehow, and the reason they knew that is, and that
He
Isn't that
pillado.
right, Mom?
Yeah, wait. Where's your evidence? You need without any... Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! False! I refuse to vote! Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! You're corrupt! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! False! You're corrupt! I refuse to vote! I refute you! False! You're corrupt! Show me some evidence!
This should prove it.
Gorda. Ven.
If my thinking so far is right, Mondo must have replaced his broken handbook, in which case, we can just, once we do that...
We don't gotta do that.
Huh?
Yeah, I did it.
Ven, Gor. Gor. Ven. Ven. Ven aquí. Ven aquí. Ay. Mi gordita.
Bro?
I got no choice, man. Go ahead, Monokuma. Ask for the goddamn...
Roger that!
Wait! Hold on!
No waiting! No time for the moment we've all been waiting for! Grab your lever and give it a yank! Who will you elect as the Blackened this time around? Will you make the right choice? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
Venga. Vamos a ver la muerte de este hombre. ¿Quién es el culpable? Mondo. Obvio. Vamos a ver. Tiki, 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 tiki.
What? Ta-da! Unbelievable.
Sorry.
What is...
Now then. Actually... Ha!
Te estás poniendo nerviosa. Ya. Que te estás poniendo nerviosa.
Wait.
Au.
Hey,
Ya vale.
What?
I'm sorry. But... That's right. I want to change.
Hey,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mr. Macho Mondo.
Correct. Indeed. Certainly.
But...
Because... I knew it.
What is this? You're wrong!
Don't make me repeat myself.
Hey,
Te voy a dar, Os mordéis ya. Ya. Vale. Ni uno ni nada. Que no paras de morder. Me vas a romper el suéter. Para ya.
I just... Don't fuck with me.
Hola, ¿qué tal o no? Ya vale, ¿eh? No. Sí, todo bien, todo nice. Lo único que tengo aquí es una perra mordiscosa que no me deja. Ya vale. Ya vale. Sí, tú. Me muerde, no me deja. Creo que estamos algo iguales con los animales. No, esta es que está recién adoptada. Tiene 3 meses recién cumplidos. Y es más mala que un demonio. Tiene un modo piraña, como digo yo, que cuando activa ese modo piraña, que se le cambia el chi y empieza a morderlo todo. Te muerde a ti, muerde lo que pilla, lo que tal. Tiene sus cosas para morder. Porque tiene sus cosas para morder, pero es que es muy mala. Y me está mirando. Es normal, yo he tenido perros siempre y sé que cuando son cachorros, pues muerden todo. Es así. No para. Esta no para, no para, no para. Ven. ¿No quiere? Vení. Bueno, venga. Ya está muy digna, ahora no quiere venir. Ven.
I'm sorry.
Esa cara, te como esa cara, hija, te como esa cara.
¿Ah?
Sí, no te deja, ¿no? No la tuya tampoco. O el tuyo. ¿Qué es, hembra o macho?
But...
Apenas puedo jugar por ella, por eso no hago apenas
change.
directo. Si no, yo haría directo todos los días, pero es que la señora, nos vamos a dormir a las 2 y a las 8 de la mañana está despierta y ya me está dando por culo. Y no para. Y yo la quiero mucho, pero es que no para. Yo te quiero, sí, te quiero, pero no para. Uy, gata, los gatos son peores. Yo tenía una amiga que decía que su gato despertaba porque se le sentaba en la cara, tío. Se muerde y me araña. Yo tengo las manos de los mordiscos de esta porque además es que los dientecinos que tiene, claro, tiene dientes de bebé. Y me muerde, ¿sabes? Me muerde que vamos, ya está. Tengo la mano derecha y la pierna izquierda. Yo también en la mano derecha, tío. Ahora me está mordiendo a la izquierda, no me deja. Mientras no muerda cables y ese tipo de cosas, que está pendiente de todos los cables, porque tengo puesto el ordenador, estoy pendiente de que no me muerda. ¡Quieta ya! ¡Para! No me dejas jugar, no me dejas hacer ya. Y estás muerta de sueño.
What's wrong?
Damn you!
I just wanted to...
Que no para, no para, no para.
Yeah, that's right.
La tengo colgando aquí. Se te van a caer todos los dientes con tanto mordisco. Quieta ya.
You son of a
Es
bitch.
el modo de piraña. Yo ya, el modo ogre de piraña. Puta, me hace daño. Ya está. Ya vale. Aloy, quieta. Aloy. Aloy. Ya vale.
Killed him. I killed you, even after all this time.
No para,
You're still
tía,
just
no
as weak
para.
as I've always been.
No.
And thanks to that,
Te voy a
I
dar,
did something I can never take back.
Me voy a enfadar contigo. Ya vale, No, pirañita no. Mémete. Oh no, tiene que levantarse. ¿Dónde irá? La voy a sacar ahora porque si no me va a dejar. Estoy intentando terminar el juicio de lo de esto, pero madre mía, se ha hecho súper largo.
Yep.
It can't be.
Well now, well now, well now, well now.
Ridiculous.
Now then, I prepared a very special
Gorda,
punishment.
ven. Ven aquí, ven. Ven, combate.
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time.
Lo peor de mi gata es que se pone
Sorry,
loca y muerde araña y
couldn't
corre
keep
por
the
las
promise we
paredes.
made.
Bueno, esta igual.
From one man
Esta,
to
la raza que es un galgo. Pues te puedes imaginar cómo corre, ¿sabes? Suelta. Me estás mordiendo fuerte. Mira, ya lo han pillado al tío. ¡No me mueras más! ¿Me vas a dejar las manos? ¿Qué hago yo contigo? Lo van a ejecutar porque han matado a al otro. ¡Yo vale! Que me tienes harta. Para ya. Ya. ¿Qué tienes con mis manos? ¿Qué te hace mis manos? ¿Dónde va? ¿Dónde va? No me fío de ti. Eres una piraña. No me fío de ti. Sí, es muy bonita, está muy tonta. La quiero mucho y está muy gorda porque no para de esto. Pero es que no para de morder las cosas. Ahora la cortina, deja la cortina. ¡Para ya! ¡Para ya! ¿Qué te pasa hoy? ¿Estás muy nerviosa? Le han hecho mantequilla de lo rápido que iba. Ahora, mantequilla para desayunar. Ya está. Para. Vamos a irnos a la calle ahora. Pues si no, no vas a parar. Y es que te veo que te estás acercando cada vez más a los cables. Y no. Luego voy a jugar al Overwatch un poquito.
What is this?
Naturally.
Hey. However,
What?
Honestly. There is nothing to be done.
¡Quieto! A ver, te explico de lo que trata el juego. El juego este va... se supone que es un instituto que se llama la Academia de la Esperanza,
That's right.
¿vale? Pero resulta que la Academia de la Esperanza se ha vuelto la Academia de la Desesperación. Y es una clase que está encerrada dentro de lo de la academia. Y esta clase, para poder salir y graduarse, tienen que matarse entre ellos. Vale. Ahora viene la cosa. A ver, espera, le voy a darle start para poder contártelo. A ver, como te digo, para poder graduarse tienen que matarse entre ellos. Entonces, cuando alguien mata a alguien, hacen un juicio. Si adivina quién es el que... Suelta. Si adivina quién es el que ha matado, por así decirlo, al que ha muerto, esa persona sufre un castigo con la muerte, pero de una manera que está relacionada con su habilidad. Si no se adivina quién ha matado, muere todo el mundo y esa persona se gradúa y sale al mundo exterior. ¿Vale? De momento llevamos 2 juicios, los hemos adivinado los 2. Así que de momento va bien la cosa. Hay una serie de animes donde se puede ver. Tiene 3 temporadas. Yo os recomiendo sobre todo la primera. Es un poco dura, es lo que te digo, es un juego un poco duro, un juego un poco gore, por así decirlo. El Timmy, que es uno que viene mucho a verme, lo llama el juego de los japoneses violadores, porque le pareció súper raro el día que vino a verlo. La sangre la pintan lila porque lo hicieron así en Japón para poder ponerlo para menores de 16 años. Y es raro. Ese juego es avanzar un paso y guardar, sí, básicamente.
I see.
Básicamente tienes los juicios, entonces yo lo que hago es juego hasta que encontramos el cadáver. Cuando encontramos el cadáver luego hago otro vídeo de las pruebas y demás. Y cuando ya va a empezar el juicio hago otro vídeo del juicio.
Correct. Indeed. Hey.
What's this?
You. What?
Damn.
Huh?
What the heck?
Damn it!
Te vas a caer.
Ooh.
That's enough.
Ya vale. Ya vale. Que no para. El anime se llama igual que sí, Danganronpa. Se llama.
In the
el
name
anime.
of my family.
You're getting all
El
riled up.
primero, le voy dando al start. La primera temporada creo que tenía 13 episodios. Es buenísimo. Cuando lo ves por primera vez no te esperas para nada quién está detrás de todo esto. Pues claro, lo que están intentando descubrir también es quién está detrás, porque están como encerrados en el instituto. Y claro, ellos quieren descubrir por qué están encerrados en el instituto, por qué se tienen que matar entre ellos, por qué tienen que hacer lo de los juicios. Según van haciendo lo de los juicios, se les van apareciendo más espacios dentro de los del instituto en los que pueden pasar. La primera muerte no te la ves venir para nada. La segunda muerte es esta que está saliendo ahora. Y todavía quedan unas cuantas de más, ¿eh? O sea, si puedes verlo... A ver, la primera temporada del anime tiene... 3 episodios, no, 13. 13. La primera temporada tiene 13, ¿vale? Es Danganronpa 1 tal y cual. Y luego hay 2, las siguientes son 2, que se llaman Danganronpa 3. Mirai Zen y Zenboshu no sé qué. Creo que primero tienes que ver Mirai Gen, que recuerde yo. Y luego Zenboshu tal. Da igual porque se tendrían que ver las dos en plan combinadas una con la otra para que te enteres de por qué esta gente... Te enteras de por qué esta gente está metida ahí. Te enteras de por qué la persona en sí que se volvió medio loca tal y cual es la que la lía todo. Te enteras por qué vuelven a hacer otro juego de estos en un futuro. O sea, está brutal. A mí me gustó mucho. Lo único que, claro, yo se lo recomiendo a gente que mentalmente sea fuerte, porque la verdad es un poco cruel. Es un poco muy cruel. Y en las temporadas, las otras dos, hay una muerte. En las otras dos temporadas hay una muerte súper cruel. Ya está, no puedes jugar tú a la Play, estoy jugando yo. ¿Me dejas? ¿Me dejas?
Well, anyway, this is a pretty good... Anyway, isn't it amazing how that once things really get moving, fear and despair charge forward at us? But I must admit, I went to all the pain and effort of making you... You do remember you were supposed to make the first move, right? Well, no biggie. Nothing we can do about it now. So just after all, that's what everyone wants to see. As long as you don't want to know my...
Ya está, no.
Ooh, my. I know I said you could ask super denied, ultra denied, and nobody be dumb enough to reveal that.
¿Ya está? ¿Lo hemos terminado? ¿El capítulo? Ahora nos vamos a la calle. No me te va diciendo cuántos quedan. Quedan 10. Uf, qué mal. To be continue. Eso sale en los capítulos. El to be continue sale en los capítulos. Pues nada, vamos a guardar. Y nos vamos a ir a sacar a la Chuchi, que está ya nerviosita. Le vamos a darle start para hablar con vosotras antes de... Como te digo, en... Anime FLV lo puedes ver online. Y lo tiene todas las temporadas. Se puede descargar, se puede ver y está subtitulado y está perfectamente subtitulado. Hace poco me lo volví yo a ver enterito. O sea, lo que es el 1, la segunda y la tercera. Por ahí en internet te dicen cómo debes de verlo. Yo lo vi como lo decían en internet, como había que verlo. Pero se supone que en la tercera temporada hay que verla... concatenada, un capítulo de uno con un capítulo de otro, porque así te enteras de todas las cosas mejor, ¿sabes? Así que sí, es el perro gamer, está aquí encima mía, que no para, la bicha, y demás. Yo lo recomiendo 100%. Vamos, que si quieres saber recomendaciones de anime, yo te puedo recomendar muchos animes. Veo muchísimo anime, o sea que por eso no tengo problema. Ya vale. Vas a parar. Que no te estés quieta. Esos bigotes. Te como esos bigotes. Te como toda esa cara. Como estoy por hacer con One Piece. Madre mía, One Piece, vas a perder media vida viendo One Piece. Yo algún día querría hacer algún just chatting en plan tal. Pero es que, poner la webcam, poner tal y tal. Hablando solamente de series y de cosas de estas. Es que no se está quieta. Así que nada. ¿Me recomiendas que me vea una guía de cómo ver el anime? Sí, te recomendaría que una guía de cómo verlo. Pero vamos, que yo me lo vi, creo que vi primero Mirai Gen y luego vi Zenbosu Gen. Da igual, te vas a enterar de muchas cosas después de uno y de otro, porque vas a ver vas a ver que en uno están los personajes del primero. A ver, el primero es el primero. El primero no hace falta saber que tienes que verlo el primero porque es Danganronpa y ya seca. Danganronpa de Animation o algo así se llama el primero. Y luego los otros es que me estás haciendo daño. Puta. Quieta. Los otros se llaman Danganronpa 3, los dos. Y es que uno se llama Mirai Gen y el otro se llama Zenbou Gen o algo así. Entonces, no sé cuál decirte que veas primero. Yo, por ejemplo, creo que vi Mirai Gen primero y luego veis Zenbou Gen. Quiero recordar. ¿Sabes? Así que nada. Debate sobre anime. Sí, es que a mí me gustaría hacerlo. Por eso, que es que tengo ganas de hacer algo así, pero tengo que mirar a ver cómo puedo hacer stream con la webcam del ordenador, pero poner a lo mejor un muñequito o alguna cosa de estas, para un muñequito anime, para poder esto, porque a mí no me gusta salir yo, pero hablar sobre anime y tal, porque por ejemplo, uno que he visto hace poco, que son 3 capítulos, ha sido Burn the Witch. me pareció tan brutal, o sea, pero porque es de Tite Kubo, que es el creador de Bleach, y yo en su día vi Bleach enterito. Y lo estaba viendo y era como si estuviera viendo Bleach de nuevo. Me das unos feelings, es como si el creador de Naruto hiciera una serie nueva y lo ves y sabes que es el creador de Naruto. Entonces eso, brutal. O sea, Bleach, qué lindo anime. Es que Bleach era lo mejor de lo mejor. Y Rukia era lo mejor de Bleach. Digáis lo que digáis. Shingeki no Kyojin también me gustó mucho, aunque me acuerdo precisamente, es que una de las anécdotas que cuento yo de este anime de Danganronpa fue precisamente que yo empecé a ver Danganronpa y una amiga mía empezó a ver Shingeki no Kyojin y yo le recomendé Danganronpa y ella vio hasta la primera muerte y cuando vio la primera muerte dijo que había tenido que dejar de verlo porque le parecía demasiado cruel. Y yo digo, voy a ver el que tú dices. Me pongo a ver Shingeki no Kyojin y claro, al principio pasa lo de la madre de Eren y me quedé con una cara en plan de hola, o sea, esto te parece demasiado cruel y la madre de Eren se le acaba de comer un titán, le acaba de partir el titán en dos y eso no te parece cruel, ¿no? Fue como en plan de what the fuck. Me quedé con una cara como no puede estar pasando estas cosas. ¿Qué les haya de morderme? Que está muy pesadita. Sí, lo tendré que ver la siguiente. Tú lo viste, es que estaba en Netflix. Te voy a dar. Es que no paras. Lo tengo que ver, en plan esto. Así que nada. Voy a cerrar el directo porque se está poniendo ya intensita. A ver si hago un listado de animes y los recomiendo. Es que me está mordiendo muy fuerte, que me hace daño. Es que tengo la mano que no la... Pues que no la veis, pero madre mía de mi vida. Es que estoy aquí tan tranquila y es que no me deja. Parece la señora de mi casa. Aquí. Es la porculera mayor del reino. No para, no para, no para. La bicha. Muérdete tú, a eso. Muérdete tú el rabo. A ver si así me dejas tranquila. Total, que voy a recoger un poco lo de casa. Voy a prepararle la comida y eso. La voy a sacar aunque sea 15 minutos para ver si se tranquiliza. Y para un poquito juego con ella ahora con la pelota aquí en casa. Y nada, a ver si luego puedo hacer directo y si no, ya por la noche iré directamente a The Baile. Así que nada, ya seguiremos hablando de anime. Si te lo ves o no, en serio, escríbeme, aunque sea un susurro, ¿vale? Si ves al final Danganronpa, que siempre me gusta ver la reacción de la gente cuando ve este anime entero. Porque es que se quedan como... Es como, te queda como cuando ves la serie esta de Por 13 razones, que cuando la ves, toda la gente te dice que es muy fuerte, muy fuerte, muy fuerte. O sea, a ver si te digo, si al final decides vértelo, porfa, 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 necesito saber la reacción. Así que nada, os dejo. Hasta más ver, caballeros.